Our online tutoring is different from other online instruction. Ours is done with live communication between tutor and student in real time, just like it is done with in-person tutoring. Tutor and student can see and hear each other in real time, just like it is done with in-person tutoring. An interactive whiteboard is used on which both tutor and student can write or draw on or erase, just like it is done with in-person tutoring. The only difference between our online tutoring and in-person tutoring is the convenience of not having to drive somewhere to meet with a tutor. Expert instructional tutoring can be done from the convenience of your home. So what does our online instructional tutoring look like? Following is an example of one of our tutors helping a student understand a math concept. Please note, the student's face is intentionally blurred for this video clip.
Okay, good. So let's just take a look then one at a time. So number one, identify the simplified scale factor of figure S to T.
The simplified scale factor? What's that?
Okay, a scale means, okay, here's an example of scale. Like when they make, have you ever seen, they're probably in movies you've seen it, or in museums or whatever, they'll have a model of a building, let's say, right? Like before they built the Empire State Building, right? They built a model, right? Well, they built that model, they call it to scale, meaning everything compared to everything else was just like the real thing, but it was way smaller, right? They do that all the time. Like they'll build a model of an entire shopping complex before they actually build the whole thing, right? And that's so they can see how things relate to one another or whatever. They can compare, you know, there's all sorts of reasons that they do it, right? But that's called scale. What's the scale? So if we were going to build, let's say we did a model of a house, right? And this was the model, this was the small one. And then, but the real house was going to be like much bigger, right? So let's say this house on the bottom here was 10 feet, but this house was 50 feet. Well, the scale in that case would be, if this were house A and this were house B, the scale factor, the ratio of one to the other would be 10 to 50.
Oh.
Right? Now, usually, like over here, they're doing it as a ratio. You could also do it as a fraction. But now, if you simplified this, well, you can divide both of these by 10, right? So your simplified version then would be 1 to 5, meaning this house is 5 times as big as this. That's a scale factor, comparing one to the other. And they do it in the form of a ratio. They could write it as a fraction, but in this case, they usually use a ratio like this with a colon, right? So if you look at this, really all you have to do is choose a side. So I would choose either this side compared to this side, or this side compared to this side. It really doesn't matter which one you choose, right? The bottom one's pretty easy. So if we took the bottom one, we would go, okay, well, S to T. So make sure that you do it in the order that they're saying. So you want to do S to T, which means S is 2, T is 8. So you've got a scale factor of 2 to 8, but they want it simplified. So what would 2 to 8 be if you simplified it?
1, 4?
1 to 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Give your child the added advantage of individualized, one-to-one instruction from a qualified tutor. Stop the struggle. Help your child to succeed as a student. Call today, 818-557-7379. successtutoringonline.com.